New York State Governor Andrew Cuomo is being accused of misconduct in the workplace towards women, and his administration is also being accused of editing nursing home death counts in the state. So let's start with what we know so far, and then we will get into my thoughts on why I think he should not resign. Now, there are 7 women at this moment who have accused him of a range of things from verbal and mental abuse to inappropriate touching while posing for photographs to sexual assault and groping. 6 of the 7 are former aides or staffers of his. One is also a journalist who has covered his administration from early on in her career, and that journalist spoke out to the New York Magazine, as well as a group of 30 former aides who have spoken out about bullying and harassment in the workplace that Andrew Cuomo was running. The nursing home death scandal, according to the New York Times, is the result of reports that Cuomo's administration rewrote documents by public health officials to undercount deaths by up to 50%, to which Cuomo said it was due to them not wanting to give the Trump administration at the time a political weapon against them and their policies. And although calls for Cuomo to resign are growing every single day from people on both sides of the political aisle, both major parties, at all levels of government, from local to national, I do not think he should resign because of the misconduct allegations. And that is where I want to start giving my perspective and my thoughts on this whole situation. And I want to be very clear here. This is not me saying I think he didn't do anything wrong or me dismissing the women that have come forward. I do not support non-consensual touching, and I do not support abuse of any kind. Whether you follow government activity at any level, or you follow politics, or you live in New York, or not, this matters to you because this is a wake-up call and a reminder to you that you have voting power in many ways, and you have it at the ballot box, you have it with your wallet, you have it with your eyes and your brain, you have it with your time, you have it with your currency, you have it with your words, you have it with your thoughts and your actions. With that said, last Friday, Cuomo made it very clear in a conference call that he had where he stands on this, and he said, quote, "I did not do what is alleged, period. I can tell you as a former attorney general who has gone through this situation many times, there are often many motivations when making an allegation. People know the difference between playing politics, bowing to cancel culture, and the truth. I am not going to resign. Part of this is because I am not part of the club, and I am proud of it." Now, I believe he is referring to the political establishment elite club when he refers to not being in the club, but I don't know if I believe him on that, and that's because he wouldn't have gone after President Trump as hard if he wasn't in the political class, in my opinion. His father was in politics. It's not like he's just some outsider that just came in recently to become a politician. He's been in the system for a long time, and I think he knows the political class is dumping him now that these allegations are surfacing, and this is him basically, I think, sending a message to them that he's not going to support them anymore. This supports why recently I have decided to step aside from party politics, and it's because this example right here shows that they will use you and abuse you, and when you become a problem, they will just toss you aside. So I think it's the right thing to do to let the investigation play out, see what happens, and if he decides to run again for another term, if for whatever reason an impeachment or a removal process does not successfully happen, and if he does decide to run, and you are a voter in the state of New York, vote for someone else if you don't like what you're seeing or you don't like how he's handling the situation. Whatever the case is, you have the power to vote him out. And if you don't like that he keeps getting voted in, maybe he gets voted in again, then you, if you can choose to take your money, take yourself elsewhere if you can. And if you can't take yourself elsewhere, then get more involved, run for office yourself, speak out some more, talk to your neighbors, whatever you need to do to get the word out about how you're feeling and actually make an impact. Because if he resigned before being proven guilty through these investigations, to me that gives people looking for him to fail at any and all costs a green light really to make anything up about anyone just to take them down because they don't like them or agree with something they've done. And I've actually been pleasantly surprised, even as sucky as any allegation like this is, that people from within the party are speaking out in support of an investigation. Because my biggest problem with the whole Me Too era, really the post-Me Too era too, was the double standard in the political world when it comes to these situations. And so whether it's President Trump or Joe Biden being accused of things, I hold them and Cuomo to the same standard of hearing out accusers, hearing all the women who are coming forward before coming to conclusions. And anyone who was outspoken only a few months ago, or maybe even a year ago, and especially over the last 4 years, who is now silent on this case, is going to have to face the court of public opinion the same way that Cuomo is right now. And I actually agree with Joe Biden's comments on this about letting an investigation play out and seeing what happens, not trying to jump to conclusions too fast. I just hope that Biden or anyone who held others to a different standard in recent memory remember that, because some people may have short-term memory about the whole Me Too movement and what happened during that, but I do not. Now let's go on to the nursing home death scandal. So I think people wouldn't be as outraged if he hadn't tried to cover it up or edit the numbers. And although the New York Times wants to report that the public health officials do not believe that the policy that Cuomo signed of sending nursing home residents back to nursing homes, even if they had positive test results, they want to deny that that increased any of the death numbers. But I don't know if the need to edit numbers helps their case with that whole angle of our policy didn't have any negative impacts. Now, let's explore if indeed the policy did increase deaths in nursing homes. I think if his administration reversed the policy early on, once they realized it was having a negative impact on nursing homes and killing more people directly, I think people wouldn't be as mad, because in the beginning days of the pandemic, there was a whole bunch of experiments all around the world going on in every state, in every jurisdiction, everywhere. And so, of course, looking back now, we can say, oh, he shouldn't have signed that policy into place. But reversing the policy once he knew that it was playing a role in killing more people in nursing homes would have, in my opinion, saved him and the whole administration from the scandal, or at least it wouldn't have blown up as big. And of course, there was a denial of the policy having this impact, but I don't know how many people actually believe that. Now, as far as data verification, if there was a lack in verification, which may have caused discrepancies between what was reported in the public health agency's numbers and what the administration reported, if there was some communication gap or whatnot, that is very concerning, because I, as someone working with data in the public sector, know there are many layers, often too many layers, some would say, of checks before data is publicized. And so the narrative that there's a different set of data and verification problems that was mentioned in the March 9th conference call is usually not a normal occurrence in government, in which usually the biggest complaints that happen in the public sector is that things take too long. And so I understand that during that time, it was a very fluid situation and things needed to get out fast so they could adjust and mitigate the spread as fast as possible. And as a data analyst, though, I know it is important to question your results in any possible way, to find any possible errors before publishing the data. Because as controversial as it can be, you would rather wait a little bit longer to ensure the data is correct than to give out wrong data and have to deal with a scandal like this and have to backpedal or cover your tracks or whatever it is, or have to admit that you were wrong. And so, unfortunately, that is the give and take with this situation, but it's pretty bad. And the problem now for Cuomo and others involved in similar scandals across the country is that Trump is gone, Biden is in. And although federal government can help states and local jurisdictions, states have rights and responsibilities too. And now that the administration, which was the easy scapegoat for a long time, is no longer there, you either have to blame the Biden administration, you have to blame the new Congress, blame local agencies, blame other representatives at other levels, or you have to own up to your part and own what happened. And whether you like him or not, I believe President Donald Trump understood states' rights and federalism, which is how officials, I believe, at all levels of government are really being exposed now for what is really happening in their area, no matter what side of the aisle they're on. And it's interesting because we have two scandals simultaneously happening, to Cuomo and his administration. And both are bad, really bad. It can either divide people on Cuomo or unite people on Cuomo. And I was watching the Tim Pool podcast recently, and he brought up a really good point, which is that the media and those that have the power to really control what we see and hear are really taking the Me Too angle as what they're focusing on regarding Cuomo and his scandals, because they see that as the better of the two. And by better, I mean the one that can distract from the nursing home scandal, because the assault allegations against Cuomo are specific to Cuomo right now. And so the nursing home scandal could have implications for other governors around the country who implemented similar policies. So they'd rather take out Cuomo with this assault allegations story in the court of public opinion and essentially sacrifice him in the public to publicly end both stories from being covered, both nursing home and the Me Too aspect, rather than focusing on both or just the nursing home scandal and taking out Cuomo and the other people who are implicated in more nursing home scandals across the country. So I want to know what you think about this whole situation. Do you have mixed feelings? Are you conflicted if you were someone who was very supportive of the Me Too movement and potentially used it for political means? I don't judge here. I know that was a very powerful, very effective thing. But now are you conflicted now that maybe someone in your party or someone you've supported is now the target of allegations? How do you make sense of this in your head? Now make sure to come back here every Friday at noon Pacific Standard Time for government/politics/public sector news commentary from me, Nick Zengel, and I will talk to you in the next one.